Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Saturday the 25th of August. It's really nice to be with you today. I'm using the Morgan Greer deck for today's reading, and I'm just going to choose 3 cards. I'm going to do it this way. And I'm just going to pick the top card of each pile. Okay. So we have the World in reverse, the Hierophant, which is interesting because I was just reading about him earlier, and the Page of Swords. Okay, so the World in reverse, the World is the final card of the Major Arcana. It's when you end the Fool's journey and you get to a completion point and you feel divinely guided and connected and everything is as it should be. You're wrapped in this purple sash and it follows your movements. It always covers you. It's always there when you need it. It's magic. She's perfectly balanced between spirit and earth. She's managed to come to terms with the duality of this planet and to realize that on planet Earth it's all about duality, but that you can step back from it and be complete within yourself, and you don't have to define everything. It doesn't have to be up or down or left or right or wrong or right. It can be, you can see beyond all of that and look at the bigger picture. So you can see the different elements. You can see air and fire and earth and water. And she masters all of these by really taking a step out of all of that, taking a step back. Look, she's in the sky, she's in the galaxy, and she sees the bigger picture in the sense that she realizes the world is an illusion, and the more she focuses on her light and shining it brightly and protecting it and spreading the love in a way by doing that, by focusing on herself, that she's beyond the grasp of any of these things. She's perfectly protected and she manifests what these things do. They're under her control, not the other way around. So she determines what her finances are going to be like. She determines when she's intense and when she isn't. When she makes decisions and when she doesn't, when she falls in love and when she doesn't. She decides all of those things. So the card is in reverse. You don't feel that. You don't feel this sense of completion. And it's a prompt to connect more with your higher power, to connect more with spirit, and to connect with your real self, your real feelings, but particularly your intuition. And you access that by your feelings today. Now, the thing I was reading about the Hierophant today is that the Hierophant is supposed to represent the revealer of sacred truths. So it reminded me of them building the okay, I'm going to show my ignorance again here. They built a church in Rome, I think the church in the Vatican, on this rock, St. Peter's Rock or something, or St. Paul's Rock, and it's like this holy site. And I saw like a really old film, a snippet of it, and they were going through this, and it's like this holy man, this wise man said, this is the rock upon which something sacred should be built, because he was the revealer of the sacred truths, okay? And the reason I bring this up is that what I was reading earlier about the Hierophant is that initially he becomes the revealer of sacred truths. He opens up a whole new vistas of seeing the world and seeing life and seeing religion and spirit and all of that. But once the spirituality is in place and once he's revealed his truth, then a church is formed around it, and it becomes this obsolete, irrelevant institution which really has lost the spirit of revealing sacred truths, and it's just about maintaining the rules which stemmed from those sacred truths. So the Hierophant loses his power by losing that spark of revelation and handing it over to people who just institutionalize that one idea. And as soon as you institutionalize it, you kill it because ideas are living things and they change and they grow. So the Hierophant is a wonderful example of don't go to the like if you feel like you don't know what to do today, you know, don't go to the people who say, I know everything about the world. I know the way the world works. I can tell you everything about yourself. I can tell you who you are and um, because I have special magical powers and I can really connect you with something magical and we can change your whole life. All you have to do, here's the hook. All you have to do is join our group. All you have to do is become a member. And if you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't feel my higher power, I don't hear my higher power, life is just always just bulldozing me, or my anger gets the better of me, I've lost control, or I make terrible decisions, or I'm in awful relationships all the time. Maybe if I join like Scientology and they have this path to happiness, maybe that will help me. Maybe then I will be like, because someone revealed a sacred truth, they're onto something. So maybe if I learn that, then I can make my life better. And that's why organized religion and cults and things like that are really horrible, especially for vulnerable people, because vulnerable people are people who are sensitive and who know that there's something more out there. We all know there's something bigger out there. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be seeking because we can feel it. And then the unfortunate ones end up in these horrible, like cults that, I mean, there have been so many dreadful ones that finish off that person and leave them in a state that's much worse than they began. So that's at the center here. So that's something to watch out for. I fell for this a while ago. I yeah, it doesn't take much to kind of flatter me or whatever. I was walking up the street in Glastonbury and this guy, he stopped me and he said, oh my God, you have a shining light around you. And I said, oh really, do I? So he basically just flattered me and and then he just really he said, I will tell you all about yourself. My name is Swami and I speak to God, I'm a holy man. And I'll tell you all about you, specifics. I said, are you going to tell me specifics? He's like, yeah, specifics. And da da da. So we sat down. He didn't tell me anything specific. He says, there are changes in your life, in your future. I was like, great. I could have figured that out by myself. and then he asked me to donate more money to his children's charity. So it was totally like, you didn't give me any concrete information and I fell for a trick. So the reason I bring up this example is I handed my power over to someone else just because they flattered me with a compliment. And instead of thinking for myself, I fell for the trap, because joining a group and joining a cult and going to a psychic or an astrologer and going and just being told what you want to hear, that's easy. Anyone can do that. But figuring it out by yourself, that's a bit harder. And it's interesting that I just brought myself up in that, because as an astrologer and as an intuitive reader, I'm an intuitive astrologer and intuitive reader. I use these divination systems to tap into my intuition. And by my intuition, I mean that collective unconscious, the Akashic records, the place where all answers is held. But I don't think that makes me special in any way. I've just found a way for me personally to open that door inside of me. And everyone can do that. Now, like with anything, there's a desire to then label it. And then it's like, well, everyone can be an athlete, but some people are just more talented at it than others. So then you're defining it again. And yes, I guess if you want to make it a competition, the Buddha was more enlightened than or than most of the rest of humanity. And where does Jesus fit in? Was he more enlightened or not? Who knows? So you can't really, and that's where the problem with defining these things come in. But as soon as someone tells you they're special and they have special powers and they're different than you because they're special, that's the red flag to run away. Because no psychic, no astrologer knows all the answers. All they can do is to try and use the tool in itself. The tools in itself themselves are helpful. I find the tarot very accurate, and I find astrology very accurate, and numerology. That's why I use them, and that's why I don't use runes or the I Ching or coffee grinds as much, because I don't think they're as accurate. So I use these ones because I like them. And they open that door to my intuition. And anyone can do that. It just depends on whether you want to and whether you practice it and whether it's something you enjoy. And, you know, we're all different. So I don't think I have to explain that anymore. But the Hierophant is that lie, you know, that promise of, I'm going to make everything better for you. And I'm going to turn this around so that you feel complete and enlightened. I'm going to give you enlightenment. But all you need to do is join my group, remember, and isolate yourself from all your friends, stop speaking to your family, and give all your money away, in the worst case. I'm laughing because it's true. And then finally, the Page of Swords. The Page is a court card, and he's the youngest of the court cards. You've got the Page, you've got the Knight, and then you've got the King and Queen. And the Page is just learning how to think for himself. And rather than taking the easy option out today, figure this out by either speaking to your higher power, speaking to your higher self, or saying, do you know what, universe, this weird cult approached me today, and I said no, but I really would like to get to know whatever you are a bit better. So I'm willing to put in a little bit of work to connect with you. If you have, you know, this thing that may or may not be out there. And if you're willing and if you just are open-minded like that, then you will learn how to think for yourself. You will turn that card around for yourself. You're not going to fall into the trap of someone trying to hustle you into something. And then you can take your own practical action based on your own ideas that are then guided. You'll start to turn this around the more you practice. And that's where that deck now works perfectly. You slowly over time, you turn that around, turn that around, turn that around, turn that around, until you have mastery over the world, until your life works. And that's all of us trying to do that. And it's like the North Node in astrology. You achieve the aspirations of your North Node, not at 16. You achieve it at, you know, later points in life. And that's why it's called a life purpose, a life work. If we all just could snap our fingers at the age of 5, we'd be done. Number wise, we've got 21 and 5 is 26 and 1 is 27. 2 and 7 is 9 and 9 is spirituality and completion. And that's what the world is. So you can turn this card around by finding your own way to spirituality rather than by listening to something that promises a lot but delivers very little in reality. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. Please hit the subscribe button on this channel and make sure the bell is on so when I come on live and I do live readings that you'll be notified. Have a great day and I'll speak to you tomorrow.